In January 2015, I had just closed an investment round for a real estate marketplace I was running in Ukraine. We had over 1 million monthly sessions, unique visits at the time, and we had by far the largest listings database in the country. Our closest competitor had half of the amount of listings, and we were super excited. And yet, that same year, we lost 95% of this inventory by going from freemium to paid. Here I am with the investors celebrating the investment. They were super excited because they knew the business. They had built an analog in Denmark. We were super excited to get all that knowledge and experience through the door. And everyone just had fire in their eyes. The air was like electric in that room. Like, I wish you were there and that dinner. Like, everybody was just, pinching themselves, like, in terms of like, oh, we're really gonna get this. This is gonna be the year for us. And like, everybody was already counting the amount of money that we're going to make. Big mistake. It was truly one of the best days of my life so far at that point, because it was a culmination of many, many years of working together with a lot of people, a lot of investors, and it was just the crux of emotions. It was like the highest of the highs. And everyone couldn't wait to start monetizing this user base. We were in it together, they would guide us, and we all thought that the easy times were here to stay. Boy, were we wrong. For the next 3 months, we did a ton of work together because we needed to figure out what the pricing plan was. We talked to all of our customers at the time, so that's over 2,000 businesses that we talked to. And in the meantime, we were ramping up our advertising spend. We even managed to get a rev share deal with the largest media company that owned 70% of all the TV channels in the country. And we were planning to launch this on the 1st of April, and basically have until April we were like just banging, getting even more traffic, even more listings, even more people on the platform, all in the hopes of converting. And to understand what that benefit would be, obviously we had market research, a ton of discussions with customers, and all under the guidance of these new investors. So in total, we were spent up to April, I think, in March, something like that. We were spending around the first quarter we were spending around 120,000 euros per month on all advertising channels. And according to our market research, we were supposed to convert between 25 to 50% of the listings that we had into paid tiers. So that was super great. Like at that point, with the pricing that the market research was pushing us towards, we were thinking like, okay, that's between 100 and 200,000. It's between 100 and 200,000 euros revenue per month, and that means straight away that you're making millions, and you have a great platform to go to the next step. So we were all set, everything was looking great, and then came the 1st of April. Now it's April Fool's, so it's kind of hard, but basically April Fool's came and went, nothing really happened. And we thought, okay, it's going to take a few because we had shelf life of 30 days on the platform, so it's going to take time to wane out. And basically, we're like, okay, most of this is going to come in the second half of the month. And then came the 30th of April, the last day of the freemium platform. You can't really add any more listings. From the 1st of May, it's all paid, and that was it. And we kept only 5% from the total amount of listings that we had. Yeah. Then we thought about it and we're like, okay, May is a low season month. Maybe we made a mistake by doing it in April. Maybe we should have pushed it back, for it to be maybe June or something like that. But because in May, the first 2 weeks of May, nobody's really working. But then we thought, okay, look, it's gonna pick up from the second half of May. And then those dates came and went, and nothing happened. We were still more or less around the 5% conversion rate. So obviously I had sleepless nights, cold sweats, because I'm the CEO and I'm a co-founder, and I was super stressed because we're so far off. It's at least 5x to 10x lower than what everybody was forecasting. And I mean, and everybody fell into this same trap, right? It was the managers, the corporation, all the consultants, everybody that was working together with us. Even the TV media company did their own due diligence and all this kind of stuff, and it flopped. So it's not a question of just, it was my mistake. It was everybody was wrong, but I still was taking it because the buck stops with me. So all of that stress I was taking on board. But after I had internally brewed over and kind of gotten through the emotions, I called up our biggest customer before the switch, and at the time they were advertising, they were posting 22,500 listings on our platform on a monthly level. I'll never forget that. And I call up the owner and I'm like, listen, what's up? We had the discussion. You were all for this, that only real listings on the platform, stop with the fakes, all of this kind of stuff. And you've got 100 employees, but you're giving us only 1,500 listings. What's up with that? And he said, well, listen, you wanted the real listings. These are all our real listings. So basically, us, the consultants, all the market research that we had, all the experience that we had about the market, we misjudged how much the game was rigged and how many old listings or fake listings people were using in the market, basically to hook leads and start to sell them something, whatever they could, but get leads of buyers. And everybody was playing that game, and obviously for that game, nobody's willing to pay a lot of money because it's bullshit leads, because they're not going to convert. They're going to convert maybe 1 out of 100. So you're playing a law of averages game, and that's never going to work. That's never going to work for a marketplace. So yeah, so the first learning is just because it works in one country doesn't mean it's going to work in another country, and do your due diligence more in depth and really understand the fundamentals of what's happening with your customers, how they actually build their business. However, in the long term, there was a very big positive side to it, which I wasn't expecting. Basically what happened is, with such a huge decrease in listings, so we had a decrease of 95% in listings, but our traffic only fell by 50%. So that meant actually that overnight we started providing 10 times more traffic per listing. So we started seeing that on a unit level, we've just become way more efficient for anybody who's using our platform. And even if you place one listing on our platform, you're already going to see an effect. So what that did is it had a snowball effect, because anybody who used our platform, they knew they were getting phone calls from us because it was very highly efficient. And with that, basically what that meant is we had a decreased amount of customers, decreased amount of database. So there was less work to do to accommodate all of those things. And more we could focus on actually driving more value to these listings. And because of that, we could continuously increase pricing between 25 and 50% year on year, depending on how the year went and all this kind of stuff. And everybody else was playing catch up to our pricing, basically. So that set us up to be the category leader. And also it set us up to be profitable per agent. It's just that we needed to grow that customer base at a higher rate, a quicker rate than what we were at. But everybody who used the platform was super happy. We got a lot of testimonials, a lot of happy customers, and word of mouth worked, which is amazing because that's organic growth. Try to think about this regarding your business, and not always increasing the price and having fewer customers is wrong. And you can always definitely do something like that. Just don't do it maybe as drastically as we did. But there's a paradox in the sense that the fewer customers you have, the better service you're going to provide to them, meaning social proofing is going to work better. The amount of time you have freed because you're serving fewer customers means you can provide a better service, and people start talking about that. So it's going to have a snowball effect. Just sit tight, and you'll get more and more better customers as you go along. And once that happens, you become the desired supplier or the desired business or the desired service, rather than being just one of the bunch. So my final takeaway is increase your prices. See you in the next one.